Have you ever grabbed a vegetable from your fridge, thinking it's a healthy choice, only to discover it could be silently increasing your cancer risk by up to 30%? Alarming studies from the World Health Organization show that everyday staples like celery, spinach, and even potatoes can carry high levels of nitrates and carcinogens like acrylamide, which form toxic compounds in your body, especially dangerous for seniors over 60 with slower digestion. Backed by Harvard and IARC research, these hidden dangers are lurking in your kitchen right now. Watch this video until the end to uncover the shocking truth about these 5 risky veggies and learn how to safeguard your health. Because the #1 reveal will stun you and change how you stock your fridge forever. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video, you can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment #1. If you don't like it, comment #0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. Number 5. Celery. Surprise! That seemingly innocent, crisp celery stick you've been absent-mindedly adding to your salads for that satisfying crunch and fresh texture? It turns out it's loaded with surprisingly high levels of natural nitrates, astonishingly reaching up to 1,100 milligrams per 100 grams in some varieties, which can undergo a harmful biochemical transformation deep within your digestive system into nitrosamines, those insidious compounds long notorious for their potent cancer-causing properties. Drawing from rigorous research spearheaded by experts at Harvard University, when these nitrates are metabolized and reduced into nitrites within the body, they can gradually inflict irreparable damage on cellular DNA structures over extended periods, culminating in a troubling escalation of colorectal cancer risk, potentially surging as high as 18% among individuals who habitually consume large quantities of nitrate-rich foods as part of their daily diets. Explain. This issue takes on an even more ominous tone for older adults, where the body's metabolic engine naturally begins to idle at a slower pace due to age-related physiological changes, granting these nitrites an alarmingly extended period of exposure and interaction within the highly acidic confines of the stomach. This prolonged dwell time dramatically amplifies the probability of adverse chemical reactions taking place, where nitrites combine with proteins and other molecules to spawn those pernicious nitrosamine byproducts, compounds that stealthily promote uncontrolled mutations in healthy cells, paving a treacherous pathway toward the development of colorectal malignancies and other gastrointestinal disorders that become increasingly prevalent in later life stages. Don't put this off for even a moment. March straight to your fridge right this instant and purge every single stalk of celery, along with any pre-chopped mixes or celery-based snacks, to decisively banish this concealed threat from your culinary arsenal. In its place, embrace a roster of vibrant, low-nitrate substitutes that deliver comparable crunch, hydration, and nutritional perks without the lurking dangers, such as the rainbow-hued bell peppers bursting with vitamin C or the mild, versatile zucchini that slices effortlessly into salads and stir-fries. To maximize your protection, commit to a meticulous washing ritual under cool, running water, scrubbing gently with a soft brush to dislodge any clinging dirt or residues, and whenever your budget allows, gravitate towards certified organic selections to sidestep the additional perils posed by synthetic pesticides, which could otherwise exacerbate systemic toxin loads and compound the overall health vulnerabilities. Number 4. Spinach. Surprise! Spinach, the verdant, leafy green forever etched in pop culture lore as Popeye's go-to, muscle-pumping superfood that supposedly turns the tide in any battle, might actually deliver a profoundly unexpected and counterproductive downside rather than the heroic, fortifying punch it has long been celebrated for delivering. This ubiquitous vegetable conceals exceptionally elevated concentrations of nitrates within its tender leaves, tallying around 2,000 milligrams per 100 grams in its fresh, uncooked state, and comprehensive studies originating from the United Kingdom have forged a stark, evidence-based linkage. Diets perpetually burdened with such nitrate overloads are tied to a 15% heightened vulnerability to esophageal cancer, a malignancy that strikes the sensitive lining of the food pipe. For those in the golden years, these perils are not merely additive but exponentially magnified, courtesy of the progressive erosion of the body's innate detoxification pathways, rendering seniors far less equipped to neutralize and expel these accumulating toxins before they wreak havoc. Explain. At the heart of this dilemma pulses a confluence of contemporary farming realities and human physiology, wherein nitrates, ubiquitous in chemical fertilizers, percolate through the soil and are voraciously taken up by rapid growth champions among leafy greens like spinach, amassing in potent reservoirs throughout the plant's foliage and stems. Upon consumption, the saga unfolds in stages. Opportunistic bacteria residing in the warm, moist sanctuary of the mouth initiate the perilous conversion by morphing nitrates into nitrites almost immediately. These intermediates then traverse the esophagus and stomach, where, amid the churning milieu of digestive enzymes and amino acids, they avidly fuse to generate carcinogenic N-nitroso compounds. Molecular marauders that disrupt genomic integrity, incite rampant cellular proliferation, and lay the groundwork for esophageal tumors that can silently progress for years before manifesting telltale symptoms like persistent swallowing difficulties or unexplained weight loss. Spring into immediate action by scouting your produce drawer or crisper and unceremoniously discarding any bunches of spinach exhibiting the faintest whispers of wilting, yellowing edges, or limp textures, since these degradation signs can hasten nitrate instability and propel the formation of even more reactive intermediates. Redirect your shopping cart toward a cadre of safer, nitrate-thrifty leafy contenders that still pack a punch of vitamins, minerals, and fiber. Think the sturdy, mild-flavored romaine lettuce heart's ideal for wraps and bases, or the robust, curly kale varieties that lend themselves to massaged salads and hearty soups, always tempering portions to foster dietary diversity and avert any singular reliance. An indispensable culinary hack to tame residual nitrates. Subject these greens to gentle cooking methods like steaming for 5 to 7 minutes or a quick sauté in olive oil, which can dramatically diminish nitrate content by 40 to 50% through leaching and thermal breakdown, thereby tipping the scales toward safer consumption, yet steadfastly adhere to procuring only the crispest, most vibrant specimens from reputable, local markets or verified suppliers to evade the insidious infiltration of pesticide residues that might hitch a ride and intensify the toxic cocktail. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 3. Beets. Surprise! Those mesmerizing, deep ruby red beets that grace your dining table with their vivid, jewel-like hue and a subtle, sweet earthiness that's become a staple in modern wellness bowls and holiday roasts. Often hailed as a superfood for their betalan antioxidants and fiber content. Shockingly, beneath that appealing exterior lies a substantial reservoir of nitrates, escalating to as high as 1,500 milligrams per 100 grams in certain cultivated strains, which possess the potential to substantially amplify the likelihood of stomach cancer by up to 20% via the pernicious formation of nitrosamines. Those volatile and reactive nitrogenous compounds repeatedly underscored in authoritative evaluations from the International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, as posing notable dietary perils that merit vigilant scrutiny. This insidious risk assumes an even more ominous profile among seniors, whose physiological frailties, encompassing not just recurrent acid reflux but also diminished salivary amylase efficiency, erratic gastric emptying, and a microbiome skewed toward nitrate-reducing bacteria, collectively conspire to supercharge the metabolic pathway, transforming the digestive milieu into a veritable hotbed for nitrosamine proliferation and thereby accelerating the insidious progression toward gastric epithelial dysplasia and full-spectrum carcinogenesis. Explain. As resilient, subterranean root vegetables engineered by nature to anchor firmly in loamy, mineral-laden soils, beets exhibit an extraordinary avidity for sequestering nitrates, voraciously drawing these ubiquitous environmental ions from over-fertilized farmlands where synthetic nitrogen amendments flood the rhizosphere, thereby bioaccumulating them in dense concentrations within the geotropically elongated taproots that we harvest for consumption. In the intricate choreography of human digestion, this journey commences subtly in the buccal cavity, where mechanical mastication liberates the nitrates, exposing them to the teeming anaerobic consortia of oral microbiota that catalyze their initial reduction to nitrites through dissimilatory nitrate respiration pathways. Propelled onward by peristaltic waves into the gastric fundus, these nitrites encounter the fiercely acidic gastric juice, pH dipping below 2 in fasting states, where protonation enhances their electrophilicity, priming them for nucleophilic assaults on secondary and tertiary amines liberated from the hydrolytic breakdown of dietary peptides and endogenous urea cycle byproducts. The resultant N-nitrisation yields a toxicological arsenal of dialkyl nitrosamines, such as N-nitrosodimethylamine, NDMA, which, as lipophilic genotoxins, traverse the lipid bilayer of enterocytes with ease, unleashing a torrent of downstream pathologies. The elicitation of NF-kappa B-mediated pro-inflammatory cascades that summon neutrophils and macrophages to the lamina propria, perpetuating a vicious cycle of reactive oxygen species, ROS, generation that shreds the integrity of tight junctions in The mucosal epithelium, the covalent alkylation of nucleophilic sites on purine and pyrimidine bases within genomic DNA, engendering permutagenic G2A transitions or O6-methylguanine lesions that sabotage base excision repair, BER, and nucleotide excision repair, NER, machineries, and the subversion of apoptotic checkpoints via p53 pathway dysregulation, all of which coalesce to sculpt a tumorigenic niche conducive to the clonal expansion of initiated cells, often in synergy with cofactors, like chronic atrophic gastritis or Epstein-Barr virus latency, rendering habitual beet indulgence a stealthy accomplice in the protracted saga of gastric oncogenesis. Do, without a moment's delay, embark on a decisive purge of all beets from your kitchen arsenal. Be it the crisper drawer, countertop burlap sacks, or freezer pouches of pre-cooked portions, initiating this reclamation of dietary sovereignty today to forestall any further accrual of nitrate burdens and to realign your nutritional compass toward uncompromised vitality. Infuse your repertoire with an array of judicious proxies that echo the beet's robust, grounding essence yet divest themselves of the nitrate encumbrance, such as the golden-hued carrots brimming with provitamin A carotenoids or the plush, caramel-tinged sweet potatoes replete with complex polysaccharides and anthocyanins. Unleash their potential through slow roasting in a preheated oven at no higher than 375 degrees Fahrenheit with a judicious misting of extra virgin olive oil, aromatic rosemary sprigs, and a zesty grate of fresh ginger to coax out caramelized edges and layered umami without the precipitous nitrite flux attendant to raw, juiced, or pickled preparations that bypass salivary neutralization. To fortify your strategy against inadvertent slips, cultivate a penchant for provenance. Harvest from your own sun-kissed backyard plots amended with compost rather than chemical boosters, or curate selections from certified low-nitrate cultivars like the Detroit Dark Red hybrids vetted through soil testing protocols by agronomic cooperatives. Layer in synergistic guardians such as ascorbic acid-laden citrus segments or quercetin-rich onions to orchestrate a reductive blockade against nitrosation in the gut lumen, and track your intake via a simple journaling app to ensure rotational diversity, perhaps capping root veggie episodes at twice weekly while amplifying the chorus with leafy brassicas or cruciferous kin for a symphony of phytonutrients that buffers against oxidative insults. Number 2. Lettuce. Surprise! That invigorating, water-kissed lettuce constituting the lush, expansive canvas for your meticulously layered salads, vibrant wraps, and deconstructed bowls, revered for its negligible caloric footprint, hydrating succulence, and effortless integration into meal prep routines? It conceals a staggering nitrate arsenal within its tender fronds, with ubiquitous cultivars like the pale, crunchy iceberg and the elongated, nutty romaine routinely registering 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams per 100 grams. Potent payloads that may incrementally inflate colorectal cancer susceptibility by 10 to 15% among chronic consumers. A correlation meticulously delineated in sprawling European cohort investigations, such as the EPIC study, which shadowed over 500,000 subjects' alimentary trajectories and oncologic endpoints across protracted timelines. For the silver-haired demographic, this nitrate nexus intertwines disastrously with the adhesive residues of organophosphates and carbamates from non-organic husbandry, forging a compounded assault that strains the faltering xenobiotic metabolizers and hepatocytes, erodes the senescent colonic villi through enhanced permeability, and potentiates the adenoma-carcinoma sequence via augmented beta-catenin signaling, rendering what was once innocuous greens ritual into a latent accelerant for large bowel adversities. Explain. In the evolutionary tapestry of leafy greens, lettuce has honed a sophisticated nitrate husbandry, stockpiling these polyatomic anions in the vacuolar compartments of its mesophyll cells and petiolar tissues as a dual-purpose osmoticum and nitrogen reservoir, siphoned relentlessly from eutrophic hydroponic beds or nitrate-laced arable expanses via high-affinity nitrate transporters, NRT1/NRT2 families, in the root and didermis. The ingestion odyssey ignites upon the first crunch between molars, where the ensuing maceration aerosolizes nitrate crystals into the supersaturated salivary milieu, furnishing substrates for the resident nitrate reductase enzymes harbored by Veillonella and Actinomyces species, which facultatively orchestrate a one-electron reduction to nitrite amid the hypoxic microniches of dental plaques. This nitrite bolus, buoyed by esophageal transit, plunges into the corporeal cauldron of the stomach, where parietal cell-derived HCl, titratable acidity, 160 milliequivalent/L, not only curtails microbial overgrowth but also furnishes the acidic catalysis for nitrite diazotization, engendering transient nitrous anhydride intermediates that avidly N-nitrosate the aliphatic amines percolating from concurrent proteolysis, chiefly from heme-rich meats or microbial decarboxylases yielding putrescine and cadaverine. The emergent nitrosamine bouquet, exemplified by N-nitrosodiethylamine (NDEA), exerts its oncogenic imprimatur through paracellular diffusion into the jejunal and ileal crypts, where it intercalates with a proliferative compartment to derange WNT/TCF transcription, inflate cyclin D1 expression, and attenuate ECadherin-mediated adhesion, thereby begetting dysplastic foci. This mucosal mayhem reverberates distally to the cecum and sigmoid, where protracted fecal stasis, exacerbated by low residue diets, prolongs luminal exposure, fostering microbial dysbiosis that amplifies secondary nitrisation via fecal enterobacteria, and synergizing with APC gene heterozygosity to propel the stepwise accrual of KRAS mutations, chromosomal instability, and microsatellite perturbations that hallmark sporadic colorectal tumorigenesis. Do seize the reins of reform forthwith. Excavate and discard that languishing head of lettuce from the refrigerator's humid embrace this very moment, preempting its insidious cameo in tomorrow's midday repast, to dismantle the scaffold of recurrent exposure and inaugurate an era of verdant prudence. Orchestrate a seamless metamorphosis to fortified, nitrate parsimonious surrogates that sustain the salad's architectural grandeur and tactile allure, including the resilient, vitamin K-abundant cabbage with its crinkled Savoy leaves, or the chicory-kissed endive boasting subtle anise undertones and inulin prebiotics. Artfully prep them by quartering longitudinally, then tenderizing with a therapeutic knead incorporating flaky Malden salt and a whisper of rice vinegar to unfurl their cellular matrices without thermal degradation. Hygiene is paramount. Inaugurate each harvest with an exhaustive ablution beneath a torrent of chilled, aerated tap water for a meticulous 30 seconds, employing a colander's vigor to dislodge tenacious particulates, epiphytic pathogens, and lipophilic pesticide films that tenaciously colonize the cuticular wax, thereby curtailing microbial vectors and endocrine disruptors en route to ingestion. Eschew budgetary scrimping by aligning with organic imperatives, where integrated pest management supplants broad-spectrum sprays, potentially eviscerating residue loads by up to 90% as corroborated by USDA residue monitoring. Scout for the USDA organic seal or EU equivalents to validate provenance. To weave resilience into your routine, orchestrate a kaleidoscopic rotation encompassing fellow low-nitrate luminaries like butterhead varieties, in tempered portions, or watercress for its pungency and sulforaphane kick, curating thematic assemblies. Think Mediterranean with feta and olives or Asian-inspired with sesame and miso, that not only tantalize the senses but also disperse micronutrient loads equitably, mitigating the perils of monoculture while amplifying the orchestra of folates, glucosinolates, and polyphenol that fortify colonic homeostasis. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 1. Potatoes. Surprise! Brace for the seismic dietary unmasking. These prosaic, tuberous stalwarts of the solanaceous clan that underpin a pantheon of soul-soothing staples from velvety mashed accompaniments to shatteringly crisp hashes and oven-wedged indulgences, venerated for their satiating starch and potassium payload as the everyman's carbohydrate cornerstone? In the crucible of high-heat alchemy, be it the frenetic bubble of a deep fryer, the radiant embrace of a broiler, or the convective whisper of a convection bake, they conjure acrylamide, a Group 2A probable human carcinogen per IARC's taxonomy, which mechanistic rodent paradigms affiliate with a 50% escalation in multi-site tumorigenesis through a duct-driven clastogenesis, while human biomonitoring unveils urinary mercapturates signaling somatic DNA fragmentation and telomere attrition, as expounded in the National Cancer Institute's NCI Compendia of Thermal Processing Hazards. This exposé resonates with amplified trepidation for the geriatric cohort, whose glomerular filtration rates languish below 60 milliliters per minute and estrogenic milieus tilt toward proproliferative states, magnifying susceptibilities to nephrotoxic cascades culminating in renal cell carcinoma or the estrogen receptor crosstalk that stokes endometrial hyperplasia. The narrative darkens with the ubiquity of sprout inhibitors like chlorpyrifam, CIPC, a phenylcarbamate that infests 90% of mainstream potato consignments per FDA surveillance, bioconcentrating in the periderm and stolon scars to evade rudimentary post-harvest rinses and perpetuate a subclinical assault on cholinergic neurotransmission and phase 2 conjugation. Explain. Endowed by selective breeding with a prodigious endowment of L-asparagine, constituting 40 to 60% of total free amino acids in the tuber sarcocarp, interlaced with label-reducing saccharides, glucose at 0.1 to 0.5 g/100 g, fructose in trace. Accrued via transient amylase-mediated amylopectin mobilization during dormancy or chill-induced sweetening. Potatoes harbor the volatile precursors for thermal Maillard sorcery. Upon subjection to desiccative infernos eclipsing 120 degrees Celsius 248 degrees Fahrenheit, encompassing the pyrolytic maelstrom of air-frying pods or the infrared barrages of toaster ovens, these moieties embark on a Strecker degradation odyssey. Asparagin's alpha-amino moiety condenses with the aldose carbonyl to forge a transient azomethane ylide, which, upon decarboxylation and dehydration, extrudes the aziridinium ion scaffold of acrylamide, prop 2, in amide. A vinylogous epoxide progenitor that volatilizes modestly but partitions avidly into the vapor phase for recondensation on cooler surfaces. Postprandial, this electrophilic interloper traverses the duodenal brush border via passive diffusion, escalating to peak plasma concentrations within 1 to 2 hours, whereupon hepatic CYP2E1 oxidizes it to the ultimate mutagen glucidomide, bearing a terminal epoxide that alkylates N7-guanine and O6-guanine with 10-fold avidity over parent acrylamide, birthing ethanoadducts impervious to mismatch repair, MMR, and homologous recombination, HR. The genomic insurgency unfurls as translesion synthesis errors amplify G-CT, transversions in oncogenes like PIK3CA or tumor suppressors like PTEN, while off-target proteasomal inhibition via cysteine adduction throttles ubiquitin ligase activity, hoarding P27 and skewing the G1/S checkpoint. In parallel, the pesticide phantasmagoria. Chlorpyrifam metabolizing sluggishly to aniline derivatives that uncouple oxidative phosphorylation in mitochondria, imposes a glucuronidation surcharge on the senescent liver, where phase I hydroxylation falters and biliary efflux wanes, engendering enterohepatic recirculation that besieges the enteric microbiome and precipitates dysbiosis-fueled endotoxemia, a confluence that disproportionately erodes the regenerative quotient in aging epithelia from ileum to urothelium. Do ignite an unequivocal insurrection against complacency, rout every tuberous interloper from the chill of your refrigerator's produce bin, the shadowed recesses of pantry wire racks, and the ambient clutter of your culinary staging area with unyielding expedients, exorcising them to abort the trajectory of inadvertent genotoxic accrual and to herald a renaissance of tuber-tempered tranquility. Should the specter of starch deprivation haunt your hearth, resurrect their utility through aqueous baptisms. Submerse whole or cube specimens in vigorously boiling, non-iodized water for 15 to 20 minutes until fork tender, or cocoon them in bamboo steamers over aromatic vegetable stock infusions at a languid simmer, engendering pillowy consistencies primed for emulsification with grass-fed butter and chives minus the pyrogenic specters of acrylamide inception. For a more audacious reinvention, abdicate to ancestral analogs that mirror the potato's starchy solace sans the synthetic specters, embracing the tawny-fleshed yams with their diascorin proteins and mucilaginous charm or the voluptuous winter squashes, acorn for its nutty density, butternut for its silken yield, ideal for custardy gratins, velouté bisques, or spiralized stir-fries that satiate without subterfuge. Procure from regenerative farms via CSA subscriptions to ensnare peak terroir and minimal inputs. Hone your husbandry by sequestering vestigial caches in an etiolated sanctum chilled to 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 7 to 10 degrees Celsius, with scrupulous airflow to interdict glycolytic derepression and the attendant solanine biosynthesis that chlorosis incites in photostress sprouts, a glycoalkaloid that antagonizes acetylcholinesterase akin to sarin. Ingrain a ritual of dermal divestment via a serrated paring knife or ergonomic Y-peeler to ablate the suberized periderm harboring 80% of residue burdens, and pledge fealty to organic oaths that obviate the agrochemical gauntlet of conventional monocrops, enriched with mycorrhizal inoculants for resilient yields. As a capstone gambit, inaugurate a preemptive maceration. Cascade diced aspirants into an ice water bath spiked with 1% acetic acid or ascorbic essence for a 30-minute vigil, eluting osmotically the cytosolic hexoses that fuel Maillard mischief, thereby attenuating acrylamide yields by 40 to 60% even in residual preparations while preserving the tuber's native chlorogenic acids as anti-inflammatory sentinels. Alright, we've just uncovered the shocking truth about 5 vegetables: celery, spinach, beets, lettuce, and potatoes that could be raising your cancer risk by up to 30% due to nitrates and carcinogens like acrylamide, especially for seniors. By tossing these out and switching to safer options like bell peppers, romaine, or sweet potatoes, you're taking a huge step toward better digestion, stronger immunity, and a healthier future. It's never too late to make these critical changes. So, what have you learned so far? I want to hear from you. Comment below with one thing you've learned from this video and how you'll put it into practice in your life. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more life-changing health secrets.